give up, still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no.
Some injuries, mentally and physically. Studied them religiously so I don't repeat history. And people won't admit to me they don't want a victory bad enough to get a C. They'd rather just go leave it be. And oh, this journey I've been on since 13, working hard and learning, never stopping searching. Yeah, it's burning, all this passion hurts me. I took action working, writing down these words.
No, I'm not okay, I just wanna be something. I don't wanna be nothing, living all alone. No, I'm not alright, I'm just barely getting by, but I'll tell you I'm just fine, so you leave me alone. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Good morning to you all. Hope you're having a great day waking up on the 6th of January, 2024. And we are already, we're already into the new year. We're doing awesome things. And I'm super grateful, super excited that you guys are here with me today, hanging out on this Saturday. I'm still finishing up my breakfast. I'm not going to lie. I had a little bit of a late start because I was just enjoying sleeping in a little bit for sure this week, even though it was a short week because of New Year's. I definitely had a long week, so I'm definitely just eating some eggs, and also I'm drinking probably my new favorite energy drink, which is going to be this Ghost sour pink lemonade. This stuff is amazing. It's absolutely delicious. But yeah, so hold on. I got someone messaging me over here. Oh, yep. Got it. Got to know if she makes sense. Kyle Wilkinson coming in. Hello, handsome. Hello, handsome W, sir. It is great to see you. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me, man. I appreciate that. We're going to have a little bit of a surprise coming up here soon in just a little bit. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the details as far as our writing and what we've accomplished so far this week. This week was great. Oh my goodness. We got all the chat blowing up. Hold on. Let's talk to our beautiful people. Warrior Brandon Bernard. Hail, TJ. Hail to you, good sir. Thank you so much. And of course, we've got Wolfie and little Panda Aiden. Hail, TJ. What's up, you guys? Thanks for stopping by. Oh my gosh. Johnny Douglas. Okay. With the hoodie string in the way, it looks like your shirt says go Cucks. That makes sense. How can we make it so it's like go fucks? I don't know. That's what it would be for my lifestyle, at least. But dude, I saw your video, John. definitely wishing you all the best on your new vector that you want to aim for. Dude, get after it, man. It's more important than writing, I believe, in my humble opinion. A healthy lifestyle is much more important. So, yeah. You know what goes for with eggs is IHOP pancakes, dude. Yeah, absolutely, JD. Ever since that one live stream video post you've been about that, man. Keep being amazing. Ah, thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that. You are one awesome little panda, let me tell you. Ducks forever, dude. That was such a great game. I feel bad for Liberty, but you know what? That it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. Oh, also, you guys, for those of you who are just joining, Ghost Sour Pink Lemonade. Ghost, if you ever want to sponsor the channel and the videos, you let me know, because this thing is absolutely amazing. Don't you dare ever get rid of this flavor. It's the best ever. You guys killed it. But no, our video is not sponsored by Ghost Energy, but we definitely say it is our most favorite mostest. All the great things. It's amazing. Not quite new, but refocusing on an old habit I've let slide too long. Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned that, I think, in your post, but yeah, dude, definitely stay focused on that. Nick Boslow, what's up, brother? Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Brandon wants to fight horrible flavor, orange cream. All right, that's it. We're fighting, Brandon. Those are fighting words. How dare you mess with my flavor profile? Yeah, right. Okay, so where are we at this week, you guys? It was a really successful week. Oh, Warrior Bernard does not like those ones. Icky Starburst. No. We're fighting, Warrior Bernard. We're fighting. So okay, let's take a good break to say hail to the Dying Breed, our Patreon community. Those of you who have supported me, thank you so much. We have Warrior Bernard, Fighters Maxwell Foster Q, Soldier Boslow with Wolfie and Little Panda, and then Defenders LG, Jodan, and Miss Aoife over in Ireland. And the reason I want to say thanks to those Patreon members and just your guys' support continues to bless me. You guys continuing to talk in the Patreon and be on here supporting me. It's just like that motivating factor that keeps me going, keeps me looking forward to the weekends when we get to talk and have our updates. But there's another awesome reason, and that's because a very awesome person is going to be joining me today on this live stream, and that is the fighter, Mr. Ryan Maxwell. What's up, dude? You're muted.
I am muted. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Dude, that's a sick background. That's the same one you used at GuildifyCon, huh?
Yeah. Geneva said they had an art guy do these things, so I figure I'll use it while I have it.
Nice. Well, that's cool, man. Dude, thanks for coming on. I was thinking of like, what am I going to talk about this weekend? There was a lot that happened yesterday, and I only had like one or two things. And I was like, you know what? Ryan jumped in the chat first. Why not have him come on and hang out with us?
Yeah, sure. Always happy to come hang out with you.
I know, man. And that's where we haven't done like an official author AMA interview with you for Grand System Vending. But how is the writing going for book 2 on Vending Apocalypse?
I think it's going really great so far. I've been having a lot of fun. It's nice to get to focus on something different, so I'm not just stuck in the one book for the whole time. You know how that can be sometimes when you've read something so many times, you just glaze over after a little while, and you're like, did I actually read this?
Yeah.
So I think I'm a little over 25% of the way done with book
Holy
2.
Cow.
And I've released the prologue as an end chapter on Royal Road, and then this Wednesday I'm going to start dropping chapters for book 2, starting with chapter 1. So it's going to be pretty awesome to get to finally get that stuff out there, since I've been holding on to this for a while now. Or I say a while, about a month.
So are you going to create a whole new book on Royal Road, or is it just going to be continuation from book 1 in the chapter uploads?
It's going to be a continuation of book 1. I am using the volume feature that that Royal Road has for their stories, so that at least the art can be in there for book 2. But I'm just going to continue on. So when you hit next chapter, it'll just flow right into the next book. You won't even know that anything was different on what you're reading, but except the title will say chapter 1 again once you've gotten to, or prologue once you've gotten past chapter 54 for the last book.
Gotcha. Dude, that's awesome. That's a really cool feature. I've seen other people do that, but yeah, I knew like with Bloodbath, the intensity just jumps so much in book 2. I was like, I don't want to get in trouble with Royal Road. So
that makes sense. Yeah, and they didn't get to read over your statistics that you were putting in there.
Well, it's going to be in the real version. Can't get around that shit.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm totally with you on that one. I don't understand if it's if you were just making stuff up and it was like, blatant racism or something, and it was just racism for the sake of racism, I could see why they'd be upset about that. But these are real life statistics. It happened. They're out there. Yeah. Anybody can Google for it.
Yeah, and that's where I think the other thing is like these are from government entities or World Health Organizations, United Nations. Like, so if you want to say you don't trust in those figures, well, then that's on you. But this is readily public information. So, oh, look at Richie Stevens.
Richie.
These freaking guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So have you taken any different approaches in how you wrote book 1 to now how you're writing book 2?
A little bit. I'm hoping that book 2 is going to have a little bit more depth than book 1 did to some of the things, to some of the aspects that are coming out. Book 1 was kind of a trope dump, if you will. It was like, what are all of the tropes that I can throw out there for post-apocalyptic stuff? And book 2, I've decided to try to be a little more well-rounded with the writing. So creating a villain that people love to hate versus just kind of a mustache twirling, yeah, I've got your girlfriend tied up on a railroad track kind of villain. So it's nice to get to show off some of that stuff, and then making changes to the things that I've learned from writing book 1. I mean, people give you advice all the time, and trying to take some of those things so that you don't have to edit so much when you get to the end is the goal, was doing that as well. So yeah, a little bit different approach, but the overarching theme should still be the same, in that it's meant to be fun and funny and lots of humor that goes on, while at the same time showing that the characters have more than just, dick jokes and swear words going for them.
Joel is here with me, but that's not too important. But hi, TJ and Ryan. So
hi, Richie. We love you.
Periapsis Press, Miss Katie. Good morning. Good morning to you. It's great to see you. Yeah, dude. So okay. So then, what were some of the biggest takeaways that you saw within yourself, within your writing, when it comes to book 1, and what were some of those reflection points as you started book 2? Because it's always a lot of work, right?
It is. It's a ton of work. I've had to understand that my style is so much based in pantsing that I can't focus too hard on what I had set for my outline at the beginning. While the points should be hit, I shouldn't be too upset that I've gotten way off course from where I was at. The first book, I was kind of trying to stay in with those things. I write a 1-sentence description for what I want each chapter to be, make sure that I hit the points that I want to going through the book. And like with book 2, my sheet shows that I should be on chapter 3, and I'm on chapter 13 already. So I have to learn to let go of the fact that I'm not going to be in the exact planning boat that so many people say does so well for them. I have to just let it go with what it is. And then I think the other thing is, don't say the same words so close to each other so much. That's definitely something I keep having to learn when you're writing, is really, really focusing on, if you said a certain word, don't say that same word again in the same sentence or the next sentence, or even the sentence after that might be a little too close.
Yeah. So that's an easy one to get wrapped up in. And there's sometimes where you just, as you're writing, you don't have that mental energy to think outside the box, or you don't know any other way of how to describe the damn situation. And so you're just like, fuck it, I'll fix it later.
Yes. And now that I've been writing without the pressure of the Royal Road posting, it's like it's harder to stay focused almost. Like I don't have something behind me constantly going, you've got to get this out now, or it's not going to be, or you're gonna miss something that you promised. So that's kind of why I'm going to. Yeah, for me, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I was writing the first book, within a month, I was like 75% of the way done with the book. Because after I got to chapter 3, I talked to you. You were the one that was like, "Hey, why don't you put it on Royal Road?" I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll put it on Royal Road." And then I'll say something stupid like, "I'm gonna put up a chapter every single day," and it started.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that was the problem. It started taking off all of a sudden, and I could not. I was like, "Oh crap, I have to keep up with this because people actually care now." When I made the promise, I didn't think people were gonna care, so I thought it didn't matter. But this time I'm gonna only do 5 days a week and give myself a little bit of a break. But I still need that pressure because when I didn't have that, I didn't. I'm slower. I'm just don't have that same motivation to keep going that I did when there's something behind you going, you've got to get that next chapter out right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Brandon was saying, "What's wrong with dick jokes? Did they stop getting funny?"
Oh no. They did not, but you need to have things besides dick jokes, or people get turned off, apparently, which is weird. I don't understand it. I could do dick jokes all day, every day, but some people seem to want more, plot than just somebody shooting people in the dick.
I just had something like a comedic dialogue between some of the characters in book 3, and I forget what exactly it was now, obviously, but it was something of that effect where I was talking and it was about to happen. I was like, dude, throw something in there, throw something funny in the situation. So I think I was talking about how Trevor's a mouth breather. Like Tara was giving him something and they were talking about like technical stuff of what's going on and he wasn't getting it. And so Tara just like leans in and she's like, "Well, you are a mouth breather, Trevor." It's like
it's like a fish on land.
Yeah. So our good friend Jay Perez, fixing it later is what editors are for. Just ask Jesse Kins.
It's true, but at the same time, there's something that people don't know going through this. Maybe if just a piece of advice for newer people who haven't gone through the editing process yet. The more things you can fix before it goes to the editor, the less likely the editor is to get bogged down with every single little thing that needs to be fixed, so that they're diving deeper into the actual editing of your book, not just reading through. Because if you see, if there's 1,000 errors in your book, you're more likely to find all of them. I say that. Let me back that up again. If you're more likely to find all of the errors if there's only 500 of them than if there are 1,000 of them, because you have to look for 1,000 things versus just finding the 500 that are there. So the more things you can find in advance does help long term. And most people who've gone through this, I think, will give you that same advice, because Jez gave me that advice originally as well. He said, if you find more of these things beforehand, the editors won't get bogged down in the little errors, and they'll find the bigger ones because they have time to dive deeper into it.
That makes sense. Yeah. And it's, yeah. No, I would absolutely agree with that. So, Nick, it is a pain when editing, though. I need to create a macro to correct duplicate issues. So,
yes, if a word, well, that would be really hard to code if you were going to try to set that up for that way. Try to find any 2 words that are too close together, because then you've got words like it and the and a and all that.
So wouldn't you have to do it so that you would tell the program if a word duplicates within a period to report it to you?
Right, but again, what about like the word a or it's?
Well, that would just have to be.
You'd have to have a lot of exclusions for unimportant words.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah. But so technically, it still can be done.
It can.
Yeah. We're on to something. We're on to a new product. Our good friend Rachel A. Cooper. Yep, you can always come back and fix the words. And that's true. That is 100% true. I actually find if I can take about a month to 2 months away from the manuscript and then come back to it, that's when I find my brain is truly refreshed. I can look at the material in a new light, and I then have the energy to really dive in and make those fixes.
That makes sense.
And I just put Rachel, I just put your book on my wish list for Audible, so I'll be grabbing that, the one you did with AFA. So
yep, I'm reading their one on Royal Road right now. Yeah, Hunter Origins. I'm reading that one. It's good. If you haven't gotten a chance to check that out, you should check that one out. It's really good.
Yeah, I have it on my follow list. I just have not had time to actually let's just do that. So for all of those watching the video in the chat, there is the link to Rachel's book on Royal Road. And then where are you at, Nick? There you are.
Oh yeah, Nick just got book 2 put up. So he added all his he's doing the same thing that I did with the volumes on his series.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go, chat. You guys have links to Rachel's book there, her Hunter Origins, and then Nick's book, Wild Ones. Definitely go check those out. Yeah. So I'm excited though. Editors catch things you'll have to fix later. The less work after the editor, the quicker you can publish. 100%. I'm not that good on macros. Have enjoyed y'all's on Royal Road. Well, thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So yeah, okay. So what do you have a setup routine then when you approach writing? Like, how do you make sure you're getting your words in? Do you do it by day? Do you try to do it in the morning, afternoon? Like, how do you approach your routine?
I usually just I put in headphones. I put in some music, some upbeat music, something that's going to keep you going. Nothing, no ballads, no lullabies or anything like that, but some upbeat music in my ears, try to block everything out, and then just sit and go wherever I can. 90% of the time, my writing's done at lunch. I think I get an hour lunch break from my day job, and then I write in the evenings as well when I'm not working. So it's not as easy, but I try to do it whenever I could. When I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks of the year, and I got a lot done during that time. I actually went into the Legion Discord channel. There's a sprints chat in there where you can do sprinting for writing, where you set up a time frame. Anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes is usually the standard times. And then you just write and you put in your word count when you start and your word count when you stop. And other people can join the sprints that you start. And it kind of is a little bit of a competition, but at the same time, friendly deal on getting people to focus and try to keep writing with each other, giving encouragement, things like that. I know Joe Dan's in there. I've talked with him quite a few times on that. I think he talked about that on his live, the sprints there as well. So if I can do a sprint, that's great because it really makes you feel like you're pressured to keep writing. Once again, that thing I talked about earlier, for me, pressure is kind of a big deal to keep writing, or I'll put it off.
Right.
So it's great to have that in there from time to time. But otherwise, it's literally just sit down. I read through whatever the last few paragraphs that I wrote was, and then pick up and keep going from there. Usually the plot line just kind of comes since I'm mostly pantsing it anyways.
Yeah, I've definitely found the sprints are really helpful for me. And I normally go in like 50 to an hour long. And what's interesting is I'll be at like 40 minutes and I'll maybe be at like 500 or 600 words. And I'm just like slogging, but then something will happen and I'll slam 400 words within like 20 minutes and still hit my goal of 1,000 in an hour. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, all right. And then I'll take 10 minutes off and then just grind again. So,
yeah, I usually do 25-minute sprints and I average between 800 and 1,000 words a sprint. So 800 to 1,000 words every 25 minutes with trying to give myself 15-minute breaks between those to to stop.
You beautiful bastard, you.
Oh, Jez showed up. Holy crap.
Which is interesting. He's never come on a live before, like a live weekend update, until I copied your face on here.
Hey, you get Legion, you get Legion, I guess.
I think the sprints in Legion is locked to most.
I think there's a way to get in there. I would ask, I don't know who to ask. Maybe Geneva is a good person. I'm going to throw her under the bus there for a second. Because I know people who are not part of Legion are in there. I've done writing sprints with Chatfield and with Lars and with Nathan Amy's wife, I believe, is who's in there as well.
Darla, yeah.
Yeah, Darla. Yeah.
Darla's awesome. I love Darla.
Yeah, she's such a sweetheart. So there's got to be a way to get in there, and it doesn't have to be for Legion people. And it should be for, I believe it's for anybody who's writing. So.
All right, that's fair, Jez. That's fair. I'll give you that much. Someone let Jez Kajio out of his cage. That's right. That's right. Every once in a while, well, he's got like lock picking and he's got all those other skill sets within his stuff. Oh, and here's the link for the Discord. So for those of you who are not a part of the Legion Discord, go ahead, jump on that and give Jez all the hate and harassment you can because he loves it. It's his fuel to write. Because that dude does like 80,000 words in a fucking day.
he really goes all out. I think Jez has a skill called sneaky buggers.
Okay.
And that's kind of like a catch-all for slippery bastard in American speech. So, that's how he gets out of those cages so often. No one can hold Jez.
You cannot contain me. Which actually, now that I think about it, you guys, for those of you who are not already in the Lit RPG Legion Facebook group, Jez will be doing an author interview later today with the one and only Dakota Kraut. Am I right? It's Dakota, isn't it?
Yes, it's Dakota.
Yeah. So, two of the premier authors, premier like league, like if they played soccer, they would be, all of those people.
I'm really glad you didn't name names either, because I was sitting here going, I don't know any soccer players, so I can't help you.
Yeah, I don't know, like the football, but those guys killing it.
Mia Hamm, that was an old one, wasn't it? She was from the 90s.
Yeah, they're like the Liam Hams of soccer. No, so
Mia Hamm.
Her too. They're both hams in a different way.
Calling Jez a ham, not a great start here, bud. I'm just kidding.
Oh, if he was bacon, I would devour him up. Let's just put it that way.
I bet he when you
both him and Dakota. So if you guys have any questions on their writing stuff, their stories, you've got two amazing people to go hang out with. So it's going to be later today. I want to say it's at 6 p.m. Let me check here. It's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern time. So 1 p.m. for Pacific, 4 p.m. on the East Coast. And then for those of you in Europe, I have no idea. You guys are just going to have to do the math. I'm an American. I'm lazy as fuck. I'm sorry.
That's 5 here. So that'd be
like 7
5
hours.
My time. So 6. It's 6 out. They're 6 hours ahead of me. So 11 p.m. UK time.
Sure.
No,
and Jez is going to put it in the chat anyway. So
he did.
Jez isn't a human. He's a cyborg writing machine. Absolutely. Abuse is what we all need. Is it abuse or just love smothering very aggressively? The Pele of soccer, and then 2100 in the UK. There you go. So yeah, go hang out with those people and harass them. Unrelentless.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nice, dude. So when are you actually? Oh my gosh, Brandon! I just saw your profile change. I'm sure you're still watching, but all right, it's on. It's on. Kinky loving at the least. So when are you actually thinking? Like, have you fully plotted out book 2 and how it's going to go, or are you kind of just taking it point by point? And when do you think you're going to be done writing book 2?
Got the whole story planned.
Okay.
As in, I know where it starts, I know where it ends, and I know some of the key points I've got to hit in the middle, but not, I don't have all the details. Obviously, that comes with writing the chapters, but I know where it's going. It's a good question on when I plan to finish this one. My goal for this one is a minimum of 150,000 words. Book 1, with the edits that I've done so far, has ended in a little over 130,000 words. So try to get a little bit more this time with 150 is the goal. It may go over that. And being at almost 40,000 words now, we're maybe another month or two before it's done writing.
Nice.
At the most. And then I'm going to start into book 3 because I've decided I'm going to do a rapid release. I talked with Legion on this, and we think it's a really cool idea to do some rapid releases. So we're going to write all 3 books first. Then they'll go all 3 go for editing. And once they're done with editing, we'll do audiobooks. And hopefully we can do a rapid release maybe within 6 weeks of each other, 1, 2, 3. And then we'd love to see if we could get the audiobooks to drop at the same time as the ebooks. But we'll see what happens with that. You can't plan everything out to the detail. But we're going to do rapid releases of one book after the other to make sure that everybody gets the full story close together without having to wait like a year or so between books to come out. I don't want to promise something and overpromise and undercommit kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. That's awesome. So now, as you know, when you get into the writing thing, the writing routine, the writing regimen, your brain starts to fire off all these crazy, awesome ideas that have absolutely nothing to do with the world that you are writing in. And you get really motivated, really excited, and you want to dive into it. So how many other ideas now for stories has your brain come up with throughout this process of writing vending?
Honestly, only one.
Cool.
I've only had one idea come up so far, and it was near the beginning of book 1, where I was like, I don't know exactly how this is all going to work out. So, I have been very undistracted. In fact, I saw Jez's post the other day, with the scene from Emperor's New Groove, where they spill the potions all over the ground and they all say work in progress, and he's trying to pick them all up. And I was like,
yeah,
I really feel a little left out that all these people are commenting, oh, I feel called out. Oh, this is so me. Oh, and I'm like, I've got one other thing that I could really be working on right now. So I'm just going to keep working on my main story. So I honestly felt a little bit, I even said it to Nick earlier today. I was like, I feel a little left out that all these people have all these other projects that they're working on in the background. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep writing this one because it's what I have right now. So I've been a little bit too focused on this one, and all my ideas keep coming back to this. It's being set in Earth, and with humans, it's taken up a lot of the other, if I had an idea, I would have been able to work it into the book so far. We'll see what happens later, though. I think it's around book 3. I'm guessing it'll be around book 3 where I'll be like, I need to focus on something else for just a little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, because you're only 40, you're only a third of the way into book 2. I'm sure by the end of book 2, that's when you're really going to be like, holy shit, I want to break from this.
Yeah. And it's always nice to be able to take that break as well. It's very helpful. Like when I was doing the editing on book 1, I was like, I can't look at this anymore. I need to do something else. And that's when I was like, I talked with Legion. We're like, why don't we just go book 2 and see if we can get that done? It'll give you a little bit of a distraction. You're not doing the same book thing. So if you ever do feel that overwhelmed, it's good to get the chance to go work on something else.
Yeah. The Ninja Rogue character in your book is the second best character in there, Rhino.
He is kind of a sneaky bastard, or he's getting to be a sneaky bastard. He wasn't at first, I will say that.
Nice. So that's awesome. So then, do you think this new idea that you've come up with is what your next series will be, or have you thought that far ahead?
I don't know if it's going to come to anything. It's I don't know how great of an idea it is. It's one of those things that made me chuckle when I thought of it. So I wrote it down and I started, I think I wrote like 2 or 3 chapters in it, and that was it. I don't know if it's going to become the next one or not. I've got an original thing from a long time ago that I would love to go back to and look at again and see how that goes, that I was writing with a friend of mine, but I don't know until I get further into this one. I know I'd love to do more than 3 books on Vending Apocalypse. So
Ooh.
As long as people keep liking it, I'm hoping to get into a second arc after book 3. That would be great to do. I've already had an idea of something that I could do to expand it, and I've written that down. to come back to. So I'm pretty excited about seeing where that goes, because I didn't know where I was going to go with this when I first I sent you the idea before I told anybody else, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And I'm pretty sure you laughed at me when I first sent it to you, and you were like, well, okay, that's an idea. And I was like, well, I'll throw it out there and see what happens. And it's great because you've always been that motivation for me to be like, you're like, dude, just do it. Why are you even talking to me about it? Just go do it. You've got this. So I was like, screw it. I'll throw that out there and see what happens. So I don't always feel confident.
I don't know if I like laughed and like downplayed it, but
no.
Yeah. So hold on here. This one, I'm going back and seeing if I can find the original.
Oh, dude, it was a long time ago. It would have been August of last year.
Would it have been August?
Yeah, because I put it up on where I started writing down the ideas. Maybe it was September when I told you about it. The first time I wrote down any ideas about it was August 28th. That was the very first time I put it on paper, because I went back and checked my history on my notes. So maybe I sent it to you the first week of September.
Okay, hold on. I think I found when you sent me the artwork that you wanted to use.
Oh, yeah, it was before that. I think it was before that, or right before that.
Okay, so you sent this to me right around August 29th.
Yeah.
The only I'd love to have something in it. Reads. Okay. Not 100% sure if you're willing, but if there's another project.
Oh yeah.
Idea number 9, which you must have had 1 through 8 ideas, because you said idea number 9.
Yeah, the other ones were shit.
A system comes into play as magic finds its way into Earth. Vending machines begin to pop up all over the world with equipment and items for them to purchase using monster souls. I then did laugh. LOL, it's creative. It almost sounds like Fortnite to me. And then you admitted you'd never played Fortnite.
Nope, still haven't.
So then I was like, Call of Duty Warzone, never played it. LOL. So then I shook my head. And then you went into talking about how you never played Call of Duty or Black Ops, I think.
No, Black Ops is the only one I have played.
Oh, Black Ops was the only one you had. Yeah. And then you talked about how you wanted some of the things you wanted to incorporate, some of the things that you wanted to really make sure you added in. And then my final statement was, dude, write it down and go for it. And you said, I'm definitely going to look at starting it. And I finished with, nothing holding you back, bro.
I think it was the laughing at it the very first moment that I was like, oh, he thinks this is funny, which is fine, because the idea of most of my writing is funny. So I'm sure you've noticed that I try to put a lot of humor into what I'm doing with the writing, because I can't take life too seriously or I'll explode, I think.
Well, I think it does come back to, you have to write the story that you want to write, you want to read, you want to get into, and those people who love your stuff will find you. It just may be faster or slower. But, I've always looked at it like, I think that's why the Patreon community, right, the Dying Breed, means so much to me, because these are people who have read my work, who are so in love with it and supportive that, this is something they want to be a part of. And so for me, that's what keeps me motivated. It's like, dude, they like my work. They enjoy the stories. So you know what? If it's just the 9 of us from now until whenever, then cool.
The ride or die.
Yeah, ride or die. That's why we are a dying breed. So eventually we're going to dwindle off, Yeah,
it can't be too many of us.
Yeah, no, we can't have like a giant legion of people. No, it's just a handful. But yeah, hey, Jay Perez, thank you very much, man. I'm happy to be that for you and many others. So, Brandon, I think the readers can sense when your passion is in the writing. I would absolutely say that.
I absolutely agree with that too. Because I mean, you read the first series, or I say first series, you read the series before this that I'd written, and it just wasn't the same because I wasn't really putting everything into it. I was writing for, I think I was writing for a different audience, like writing for the audience, not for myself. I was like, oh, my mom's gonna want to read this, my kids are gonna want to read this, and all
Okay,
this stuff. And
yeah.
I was like,
You were writing the story that you have wanted to write for a long time, but you were holding yourself back from writing the way you wanted to tell it because of that pressure.
yep, because I was worried about who was gonna read it. And uh, when you finally got through to me and you were like, dude, just quit worrying about who's gonna read it and just write it, because sometimes you've got to just write it the way you would say it, write it the way you would talk it, to speak it, whatever the case is. That was when I was like, I've got to start over because I can't fix this anymore. I've gone through and tried to fix it too many times. And instead of starting that series over, I was like, I got a new idea. Let's just see what happens when I start on the new idea. And boom, that
Yeah,
was
and you threw
definitely one of the
caution to
big
the
difference.
wind.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the big turning moments for me, was when I was like, don't worry about who's going to read it. If they don't like it, they don't like it.
Yep. And look at where you're at now, man. Like 62 ratings on Royal Road. That's pretty
It's been
awesome.
pretty amazing. Yeah, it's I can't even believe it most of the time. When I look at the numbers, I don't even believe it.
All right, Jay. Love you too, man.
We'll see you, Jay.
Yeah, so that's awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, been having a lot of fun getting to do the writing, because I think that's what the writing really is, a joy. Somebody asked me that the other day, does this bring you joy? And I had to sit there and think about it for a second. I thought, every time I actually get to sit down and write these things, I mean, I found myself sharing it with people. Like, all of a sudden, I'll write something that was funny, and I'll be like, "Hey, Jay, check this out real quick," or my friends who some of the characters are based on, I'll be like, "Hey, guess what I just wrote?" And then send it to them, and they'll get a little laugh out of it. So yeah, it's amazing how creating something like this can bring so much joy. You wouldn't think that it would. You talk to some people and they're like, I can never sit down and write that kind of a book, but it brings me joy, and I know it does you too, because I've seen you enjoying yourself while we're doing the stuff. So I've seen some of the things you've sent over where you're like, dude, book 3, go, here's the next one. I didn't even edit this one yet. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
been great.
How can you not love Drebin though?
I don't know how you can't love Drebin.
And actually, what's really cool is in book 3 of Bloodbath, like, because you've read book 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually talk about Drebin in book 2 of Bloodbath. In book
Right.
3, we actually talk about his origin, what's going on, and that it was actually planned that Drebin is inside Trevor.
Huh. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Drebin is probably my second favorite character. I'm sorry, he's just not as good as Golgoth, but Drebin is definitely probably my second favorite character in the series.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to hear what Tom comes up with for a voice for him.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah. So but yeah, so dude, that's what's fun, I think, is I find a lot of joy in the challenge of your skill development. And I feel like Bloodbath has really helped me develop my dialogue skills and knowing how to have unique and captivating dialogue between characters when they have different motivations and intentions. So yeah, I've definitely enjoyed that, and that's where I find I pick up a lot of my speed is in when I'm writing all those dialogue scenes out.
Yes, and that's why somebody was asking me that in the sprints the other day. They're like, "Dude, you're getting like 900 words every sprint in 25 minutes. How are you doing it?" I was like, "Just remember, my book is completely dialogue driven. The whole thing is based in dialogue. I don't describe a lot of scenes except during fight scenes when no one will be talking. Most of the time, I let the dialogue describe the scene that's going on. So a person will be talking and they'll point out something, and they'll say, this is what happened, and they'll tell what was going on. So it flows really easily, because dialogue doesn't have to be as exact as description paragraphs do. So when you're describing a paragraph, it's got to be grammatically perfect. It's got to be written in a certain way. You can't say certain things and do certain things because there's rules for it. But when you're in dialogue, you need it to be realistic. So when someone's reading what somebody's saying, they have to be able to imagine they were saying that thing. So if it's grammatically correct, it will be weird dialogue. You can't have grammatically correct dialogue because you and I don't talk grammatically correct. I mean, I'm sure that sentence right there was grammatically incorrect. So it makes it faster because you're just typing out the way you would say something. So that's a lot of the way to get those things going. And that's where, like you said, speed really picks up when you're doing a lot of that dialogue instead of describing a scene. I don't have to, the sweat drops dripped down his back as he walked through the cave towards the pit of lava that flowed like molasses, whatever the description is. It's so much easier just to dialogue through it than it is to sit there and show versus tell kind of descriptions.
Yeah.
And I suck at show versus tell, so.
Yeah. It just makes it a nightmare for the narrator when they have to go back and forth in between all the different characters. But I'm like, well, it's not my problem. That's not my problem.
I was talking with Jodan about that earlier too, because he was like, hey, what kind of things are you looking at for a narrator? And I was like, dude, I got to have somebody that can do 41 different named character voices. And that's just the ones I have written down in book one. I mean, the main party, when they get to the last raid battle, is 40 people in the raid. My main party, that the two groups that are traveling together, is like 16 people on a regular basis that you have to have voices for. So with named and unnamed characters and monsters and other things that would speak, you were looking at probably 100 plus voices that you're going to have for that book. So it's going to be a lot of fun for somebody to have to go through and do that.
Yeah, it's actually, I know Kaylin comes on here every once in a while.
Kaylin Wilkinson?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I just finished his audiobook for the first Star Walker.
Oh, yeah.
And probably one of the biggest surprising things was his narrator, Zach Federici. Dude, Zach has got some range to him.
That's awesome.
Some of the voices, and Kaylin also has a huge cast within his story. Like, it's a vast world that he's written and a really huge cast of different people that are coming in and out of the fray. And so Zach came up with a huge range of voices and stuff. And so, man, like,
that's really
good
cool.
on him.
Yeah. I love when people do that in those series, like in Eric Eugland's The Good Guys series.
Yeah.
There are so many characters, and he's got a bunch of different races. Like with mine, it's almost all humans, because it's happening on Earth. So unless a monster or a bad guy speaks, and even a lot of the bad guys are humans. So, but with some of these other series, you've got to have like goblins and kobolds and bugbears and orcs and elves and dwarves and humans and demons and angels and everything in between. That's got to have all these different voices that match up with what they look like and what they would be, in your brain. So my hat is off to these narrators that are doing such an amazing job bringing these books to life.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So I haven't written my review of Star Walker yet, but I plan to link up with Kaylin soon so we can actually talk about it. Because
you need to start off with a 1-star review that says, I was really expecting to see a mashup of Star Wars and Luke Skywalker, and I'm very disappointed.
That would be hilarious. I did that to Brian when I finished the audiobook for Silvers. I did a 1-star review and I typed out the whole message of like how this is bullshit. This book doesn't talk about minerals or, metallic material at all, and blah, blah, blah. It's only about magic. Like, where the fuck is this? And so like I did that. I took a screenshot and then I messaged it to him. And then of course I changed it. But he's like, you motherfucker.
Yes.
So,
All of
but
the
yeah,
Franks.
I know for me, the next up in the queue, my Audible credit drops January 12th, but depending on my paycheck and everything, I might buy some extra credits because I really want to dive into Kevin Sinclair's Oshbob with the Artem
Yep.
series. I
have
really
that
want to
on
get
the way
Lars's Artem, and I haven't read either of their works yet, and so I really want to get those two. Rachel Cooper's and Aoife's on Audible as well. So
Yeah, I've read Lars's the Dragon series that he has. I've done the first 3 books on that one. That was great. So I love Lars's stuff. I haven't made it to Kevin's yet, but I do have Oshbob in my Kindle that I'm waiting to do. I'm on Defiance of the Fall right now, the first book,
okay,
because everybody's hooped and hollered about that. So I figured I'd go check it out and see what it was about.
I've actually heard negative things on Defiance of the Fall, how it's like overhyped.
Oh, so Defiance of the Fall to me is a little more traditional old school lit RPG, similar to the way that I write. So think Jez's Underverse kind of style, Aileron's The Land, Ryan de Bruin's Equalize, the little bit older style of lit RPG with the more action packed and getting from one thing to the next with a lot of crunch in it. So if you don't like a lot of the stats, you'll probably get lost in that one a little bit. But I liked it better than, and I'm probably going to be nailed to a cross for saying this, I like it better than He Who Fights with Monsters, and I like it about the same as I like Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh wow,
So,
that's interesting. Yeah, I could not finish He Who Fights with Monsters, and I've met Travis. I love him to death as a person, but
Yep.
for me, like I don't know if it was the narrator or the story or what, but I just did not finish that first book. And so, well, not that I won't get to Defiance of the Fall, but it's just one of those things of like I've really tried to rack and stack the fellow authors I've come to know on a personal level and have wanted to read their material, and to be supportive and also just learn from what they did. But Nick, question for you: as far so for Nick Boswell, who's in the chat, so is Oshbob like on a dark side? Is it, where would it compare to like a Bloodbath darkness? I'm curious now because I've heard great things about Oshbob. I'm excited for Oshbob, but I'm really curious on your thoughts of how you would compare the two. So
yeah, that'd be interesting. But I've been doing the same thing that you are with I'm trying to read books from people that I know. You know, and you know, that is what that is. I felt a little bit bad about it sometimes because there's other ones that I've wanted to get to at the same time. But I really want to give the people that I'm becoming really close with the ability to read their stuff as well.
Okay, completely different. Well, that's good. That's not a bad thing. So yeah.
So, but yeah, like I got Mike's Ascendant, his book that he put out. I got I'm reading again. I was reading Rachel and Aoife's Royal Road, Hunter Origins. That's a good one. Again, the weird thing about a lot of books is a lot of times it takes me like halfway through a book to get into it or to find that thing that really grips me. But with Rachel and Aoife's Hunter Origin, I was sucked in after they had a prologue and then chapter 1, and I was sucked in at chapter 1. So
nice.
It's really good. I highly advise people to go check that out.
Nice.
And then I've got a backlog as long as my arm of books. I'm reading Tokens and Towers by Harmon Cooper. I just finished. What was the one I just finished? Actually, I have it right here. I just finished Sentence to Troll by S.L. Rowland. I bought his compendium, the first 3 books. So that was a great series to do. Death Genesis was another great one by Nicholas Searcy.
Okay.
It's really good. It's a guy kind of has like a berserker style class. He's spawned in a dungeon where he has to. The dungeon is like his tutorial area to get him through it, but it takes him 2 years to get out. So it's pretty incredible. to listen to that one. And then I've also been reading. I think I said this before. The Bronze Rank Brewer is another really good one.
Yeah,
It's a cozy kind though, which I'm not very big on normally, but that one was actually pretty good.
Well, what's funny is I jumped on Reddit the other day and I asked about Murder Hobo, and I was like, not Murder Hobo as in tell me about Dakota's book, but I was like, where does that term come from? Because I only know it from his book, and I've started to see more posts that refer to, oh, this is so Murder Hobo, what. And there were some in the community who were like, the way that they've rephrased their comments were kind of a passive aggressive of like, well, how do you not know what Murder Hobo is? That's an old school term from this. And I'm like, I'm just asking, did it come from the book and it's associated to other books now? Or did the term come from somewhere else? And we could technically classify this as like another subgenre or trope. Like, I'm trying to gain some more context. And that's where it seemed like it definitely could be a trope of this, and that's where someone was like, it's just someone who goes around and every challenge they just want to murder something to gain more armor or abilities, whatever. Like, they don't care. They just go around attacking and murdering stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that's where Bloodbath could be a Murder Hobo type, somewhat.
Yeah, I definitely say it was a trope more than a category. But the term has been around for quite a long time. I mean, I remember, using Murder Hobo in the 90s playing Dungeons and Dragons. Don't be a murder hobo, dude. The guy who's always just out there killing everything when he walks into a bar or whatever. So, or a tavern or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's definitely been around for longer than the book has. But I would say it's a trope that you can put in there. There's always that one person who's like, kill them all and let God sort them out later.
So, well, okay, we're almost at an hour. So let's kick it over to the thoughts for the week, which is actually going to be an Instagram video here. So, and then we can get Ryan's take on this too.
Directly approach what you want is the wrong way. Why? Because it is one-sided. You want freedom? Face the structure. Face the hard discipline. Because if inside this hard structured form, you are able to have the freedom, you feel free inside this hard form, that is the freedom.
Okay, so I'm going to play it one more time to let everyone's thoughts really sink into what he's saying.
You always directly approach what you want is the wrong way. Why? Because it is one-sided. You want freedom? Face the structure. Face the hard discipline. Because if inside this hard structured form, you are able to have the freedom, you feel free inside this hard form, that is the freedom.
All right, man, what you think?
It took me 2 times listening to it to understand, because the first time when he said you approach it directly, it's the wrong way, and then he said you have to do these things, the structure to get to it, and I was like, well, I thought that's what we were talking about. But then it hit me the second time I listened to it. Approaching something directly, like trying to say you're at the pinnacle of what you're doing, is absolutely the wrong way. You've got to have those base things built into it, and that really resonates with me with the writing stuff for sure, because you can't just go write a book and expect it's going to be picked up by a publisher, or you're going to put it on Amazon and it's going to sell 1,000 copies in the first week, or whatever the case is, because it's the first time you've done something. So putting in the effort, putting in the work, putting in the time, and in writing's case, putting in the words is the very foundation for becoming that kind of a good writer. I was talking with Nick this morning. I was like, hey, I know that, it seems like I've just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden I've got this book that people are picking up, but I wrote a book with a friend that no one's read. I wrote 250,000 words worth of a series that got rejected. I started that third one that I've had the idea for that no one's read. I worked on a secret project with you that nobody's read before I finally got this one book that's kind of taking off to a point there. So you people don't know that, I'm over 400,000 words into my writing journey, almost 500,000 words into my writing journey before I've gotten to this point with so many failures. I mean, even in high school, I had a book that I was working on that I worked on for years that went literally nowhere, and it's garbage when I go back and read it. I mean, it is hot garbage to go back and read that stuff. So
Yeah.
you can't get anywhere without those building of those foundations to know where you've come from and that you've learned and honed this craft. Stephen had a deal up the other day about how all these people are trying to take advantage of writers nowadays and charge them like $200 for a learn how to write workshop, and you can get all this stuff for free online. That's just as important as doing the work itself, is going and learning how to do the work the right way. And you can find everything you need for free online. It's great to see those things and learn from your mistakes and see where you've come from.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think with the video, what really resonated with me is how I keep preaching like the routine, where I think some people are like, and also the book Atomic Habits, and Seth Ring and we've talked about this in depth multiple times, but it really preaches what Atomic Habits was talking about, where it's like, if you want to be healthy, start with your routine of eating healthy and cooking healthier and eating at home. If you want to be wealthy in life, then start to have the habit of putting aside $10 a week in an account, and you build it over time. And so I think when he said, like, if you want to do this, you have to approach it completely differently. And so I think of like the people that talk to us about, how do I get my book or write my book or this? And it's like, well, let's start with your routine, because if you can't set aside a routine that'll help you build it over time, I feel like you're just going to keep pressuring yourself, and you think, oh, I need a whole day to sit down and write my book out, or I need to take a week off of work to write my book out. And it's like, well, if you take that week off of work, you're probably going to sleep in, and you're going to take your time getting your coffee, and then you're going to sit down at your computer, and then, oh, I just can't think of what I need to write right now, and now I'm frustrated, and I surfed on Instagram, and you're not going to get there. But if you can build a routine, then you find the freedom and you find the accomplishment over time. Because, dude, like, I'm looking at, so this week I was able to put in just under 15,000 words in a week, right?
Yeah.
And so I track my word count per chapter, I track my word count per day, and then I also have it auto calculating for every week, but then every month. And so, yeah, like when you look at it, yesterday I did 2,100 words. Well, that's not a whole lot. The day before that was 2,700 words. So that's not a whole lot. But then when you look at it from a week, 15,000 words is a lot. And then when you look at the whole book is at 74,000 words already.
Yep.
And so that's when it starts to incorporate into people's lives of like, holy cow, you're getting there. You just have to take it in small chunks. You can't just jump the whole staircase.
Yep, for sure. It is absolutely the case. And you have to give yourself the positivity of the work that you've done. Be positive with yourself when you have done the work. Don't beat yourself up over comparing yourself to somebody else. I didn't write 30,000 words this week, because so and so did. That's so and so's deal.
Right.
You're not the same person as them. You cannot compare yourself to them unless you wrote 0 words. then I would advise you to compare yourself to somebody else because you did nothing. But if you kept at it and you did some work and you put in some effort, you've done something. Give yourself credit for that as well. And it's beginning the process. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, kind of a thing. Get out there and do it and begin. Now, I don't track all of my words in the same way that you do. I usually do it by chapters. For me, it's how many chapters did I write this week. So I aim to write 4 to 5 chapters a week. Recently, I'm going to probably be upping that when I start putting things on Royal Road. But again, that was without the pressure. So, but it's if I got to the point where I was like, crap, I only wrote 2 chapters this week, but I've got to be like, that's 2 chapters that I didn't have from before, and it's setting me further and further towards the goal, giving yourself the credit for it. But then at the same time going, next week I need to have a minimum of 3 chapters. If I did 2 chapters last week, and then the next week, if I did need to have a minimum of 4 chapters. Now, I can't just snowball that forever. So I'm not going to get to the point where I'm like, this week I'm going to do 100 chapters. Not going to happen. But at the same time, giving yourself something to work towards until you've reached a point where you're at your max. Building, like we were just talking about, building on that habit building process to make sure that you're getting things done.
Yep. 100%, man. 100%. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much let's see. So my writing update, 15,000 words for the week, just under 75,000 for the book. And then let's see how our audio book is doing on YouTube.
Ooh.
So for YouTube, for Recover the Jackpot, our free audiobook, we've got 162 overall views with looks like 16 thumbs ups. So there you go, guys. Be sure to check out your free 38-minute audiobook from Jodan.
Yeah, I listened to that one. You definitely need to go check it out. Jodan does a good job with it.
Yeah, I loved it. Like he just nailed it out of the park. So total home run.
Completely agree.
And then what Brandon was asking, when is that project co-worked on? When will it come out? Well, I don't know if you've been listening, Brandon, but Ryan and I are definitely a little busy with multiple projects now. So when will we have that co-written out? Probably not for a while.
Someday.
Yep.
It's my deadline for you. Someday.
Yeah. Yeah. How far did we get in that? It was like over 20,000 or 40,000?
Yeah. It was over 20,000 words for sure. I don't think we quite hit 40,000 words, but we definitely got over 20,000 words in there.
Yeah.
I think we were on like chapter 10. I want to say we were on 12, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure one day Ryan and I, once we're multi-best-selling authors and we're just kicking it around on the porch, enjoying coffee. Like, you know what? Why don't we reapproach that project we were working on?
Turn to complete gold in our hands now.
You know what? I'm sure our fans would enjoy this old gem of ours. And then, of course, we start reading over it like, oh, preposterous. Look at how terrible we were back then.
This is complete shite.
Yes. What terrible writing this was. Oh, and we did it. Oh, traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, the accent does come with money. It's absolutely. Darling, bring around the yacht. No, the big yacht, not the small yacht.
Yeah.
Lovey, dear.
The accent comes with the money. Good to know. Well, of course, Mr. Neva. Oh, where else would it come from?
Oh, Professor, did you build me anything with coconuts again? Yes.
You know what? Let's just buy another company. Why not?
Yeah, buy all the little companies. We'll buy Amazon.
Yeah,
that's how much money we have.
I'm sorry, Amazon. Who are they? Oh, they were yesterday's thing. Oh.
It was a little too rainforest for me, so I named it City.
Your facial expression when you said that was the best thing ever. Yeah, man. So let's see. What do we got this upcoming week? So Jez is doing his author interview tonight. I will be doing an author interview with Ben Curie next Sunday. Hope you guys will tune in for that. It should be a really fun time. I am excited about our conversation, what we're going to talk about. So be sure to tune in for that. But other than that, I think that's it. Ryan, you got anything else you want to close out with?
Be good to yourself. Be good to others.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for today. So thanks again to everyone for tuning in, hanging out. Ryan, dude, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I appreciated it. All right. So with that being said, y'all have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, I don't believe in destiny. I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me. You ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes. Call me aggressive with my flow. Call me offensive even though
Joe, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love. Still gonna die for what I love. Still gonna try, I won't give up. Still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left. And I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret. Cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win. I won't stop till the end, no.